Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding what I think is a terribly important hearing review of this incredibly important issue. I think this committee certainly needs to delve into this in a much more extensive fashion, and members of Congress, quite frankly, to get this policy right. Mr. Klavan, I want to personally welcome you here today and thank CHART for the commitment you've made to my hometown of La Crosse, Wisconsin. It's an incredible facility. I've had a chance to visit on a couple of times. Great jobs and a great workforce that's supporting the growth and expansion there. So anything we can do to help, we're certainly interested. Listen, I'm one who's always been a proponent of good, fair trade policy. So I've been wrestling with this issue and the domestic implications. Let's be honest. I mean, the producers of natural gas, the distributors, they're looking for a higher price. And I think that's why you see a big push for the export of this product. But we're coming off one of the worst winters in the upper Midwest in some time. Propane prices skyrocketed, and we got hit right between the teeth, quadrupling of those prices. I literally had homes burning in western Wisconsin because families were burning charcoal grills in their living room to stay warm, or natural gas grills to stay warm, and fires were being caused because of that. And as we in the upper Midwest delved into this issue more, two facts jumped out at me. We're producing a heck of a lot of propane in this country, but at the same time we're exporting a heck of a lot of propane in this country at the same time. And we got caught with our shorts down over the winter, and it had a devastating impact for families and businesses alike. And that's why I think it behooves us to do further economic studies of the impact of increased LNG sales into the international market. I mean, right now we're not pegged to the international market price with natural gas, unlike oil. What are the implications if we do significantly ramp up export production in a world that's growing more thirsty for natural gas and access, and the geopolitical implications of that? But Mr. Cleveland, let me ask you, with the time that I have, there is a huge internal fight going on with domestic manufacturers in this country over this issue, and the competitive advantage that they're currently enjoying with significantly less energy costs that they're experiencing here, and as a consequence, a lot of the insourcing that we're seeing coming in. Now, you're kind of have a foot in both quarters here as far as what that means for domestic manufacturers having access to this cheaper fuel compared to our foreign competitors, but also the industry that you're directly involved in, the potential for further growth if we do export more. I'm sure you've been looking at that issue very closely and wondering if you can render an opinion.
Sure. I spent a lot of time thinking about this issue to come and testify, prepare for testifying for you today, because as a manufacturer, we both participate in the building of this infrastructure, and I've given you examples of that. But we have a lot of other product lines where we're consuming basic materials, we're consuming energy in the United States, and we also sell equipment for natural gas vehicles and natural gas transportation in the United States, which benefits from lower prices for natural gas. I can tell you this, it's reading the studies that are out there, it seems on average that the overall benefit of additional economic activity, and we're talking activity right here in the United States, on average as a whole is going to be beneficial for the whole country over the small increases in price that are predicted if we export some of this gas. Now, one thing we all need to remember is that production of natural gas is not a static thing. Today, a lot of producers are shutting down their wells and just not pulling out of the ground because the prices are so inexpensive in the United States. So if we do see greater international demand, it's not as if we're going to take a finite commodity in the United States and share some of that with our partners around the world. Our capacity increases as price goes up, so it's an iterative kind of equation. So the studies I've read, and after spending a lot of time thinking about it, preparing, since we do have a leg in both camps, both producing the equipment and benefiting in the build-out, but also producing equipment for domestic consumption of natural gas, and we ourselves as a manufacturer, and for our employees in our various communities around the country, including up in La Crosse, just looking out for our folks.
Well, and I appreciate that very honest response. I've seen it with frac sand mining in western Wisconsin. A lot of them are shutting down now because, just where the market price has gone for them. But obviously, increase in exports will be great for the producers, but what's it going to mean ultimately for the American consumer, both residential and business? And I think we're going to need to look at that a lot closer. One other area I think, and this is where we need to engage USTR, is how much of a leverage is this in ongoing negotiations, because the presumption on public interest lies with FTA agreements that already exist, but not with countries that don't have that with us. And this seems to be a tremendously powerful bargaining chip that we have with TPP, TTIP especially, with what Russia is doing. How much of that are we willing to sacrifice or give away in the course of these trade negotiations? So I think it's a whole other area we need to look at closely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kind.